I'm going to stay quintessentially British on this one and say it's brightening up out there. I am seeing blue sky. Good to hear there from Daniel Kelleher. He'll be starting this one on the front row of the grid. We will see how he progresses in this race as he's looking to step up the order just that little bit here. He currently sits 5th in the points with 241. Can he push forward? Well, let's take you through that starting lineup and see who'll be starting alongside him. Daniel Kelleher and Lev Kreutzloff on row number 1. He'll be joined by Tom Pradilla and Davide Bataro on row 2. Zach Green and Christian Costoya go from row number 3. Noah Wolf and Matthew Higgins go from row 4. They will have Peter Stiller and Kenzo Craigie on row number 5. Jacopo Martinez and Toby Gale will go from row 6, with Oliver Kinmark and Mariana Lopez on row 7. Oliver Rasmussen and Jindra Peschel go from row 8, with the first half of the field being Casper Reipold and Kadir Fairhand.
Part 2 of your grid, row number 10 includes Simon Barbarella and Paul Androttis. 11, Efim Durinov with Hugo Marti. And then shortly behind on row number 12, we have Lewis Francis with Jagrat Detroija. 13, Victor Gustafsson and Luna Flusha. Luna qualified 99th overall in time quali. Now she finds herself within this superheat. Keep an eye on the Spanish driver. Row number 14, Clovis Nougare with Leo Nilsson, and then 15 is Chiara Batigue, Sarah Matsoy. 16, Sebastian Mins and Sanya B. And then from row number 17, we have Austin Gale alongside Yuri Bachika. Rounding out your 18 rows then, 36 karts on your track for this final superheat of the weekend. It's Oscar Gallen alongside Carl Luthardt.
Well, for all these drivers, this last race here will determine the grid for the senior final later on today, which has seen some shake-ups at the moment. The intermediate classification, Anagnostiadis from Drummond, Ramakas and Turney are the drivers who are currently starting on the front 2 rows of the grid. Daniel Kelleher, who's on pole position for this one, has a chance to really shake that order up here. Takes a staggering 90 points at the end of this race. He could really put his name up in that top fight, but he won't be able to take the pole away from Anagnostiadis. But let's see what he can do in this final race before the final races later on, when we'll have to wait just that little bit more, Nicole, as it's a false start.
Absolutely is, but gives us some more time then, Anthony, to talk about drivers that have made some serious progress throughout this weekend, one of which is starting within your top 5 rows. Kenzo Craigie, qualified overall 57th. Every single heat, both Friday and yesterday, Kenzo was like a bullet out of the gate. He was not letting off, overtook so many drivers, and now finds himself way up the order. Now finds himself once more a contender for a World Championship. Of course, last year it was a Junior World Championship. Don't count him out for this OK World title, because he's very much within the fight now as it stands, as is other drivers around him. His countryman of Zach Green, who was P5 in the junior category last year at PFI. He's also right in the fight.
Indeed, and Kenzo's fellow teammate and fellow Mercedes driver for the Iron Dames outfit as well. You'll see her in this race. Luna Flusha qualified a staggering 99th out of 108 drivers in this class, and finds herself in this superheat. She is outside of that cut-off area. She needs to push forward in this one if she wants to make a hope of getting into that final, but we know she can do it because she did it yesterday in the dry conditions. Today, though, wet conditions for the field. Lights, again, and not out. We're going round again. 2 false starts in a row. They'll need to be careful because they are at the close wrath of Nigel Edwards and his clipboard. You do not want to be on the front end of that. Absolutely
not. They'll be looking at Nigel. They will be looking at the lights as they as the revs raise towards the start-finish gantry. There we can see the mechanics grandstand full to the brim. Mechanics who are pushing these drivers forward within this weekend, within this championship. 36 in this field for this one. Final moments for these drivers to just scrub in those wet tyres. get them up to temperature, which is going to be all important to try and generate some grip on what now looks like an incredibly slippy circuit.
So initial reports coming in, too fast for Daniel Kelleher. We've had receive into the commentary box, and that is why the field has gone round again. So I can imagine we'll head to Pasquale Lupoli here, who may have some hand gestures to give him. And yes, there he is, and there they are.
Slow
down. Wait for that acceleration line as Pasquale Lupoli, Deputy Race Director here this weekend, bracing the conditions out there alongside with his colleague Nigel Edwards, who is on the gantry, and as well with all those marshals as well, who are doing a fabulous job so far this weekend. Conditions varying for them. Here we go then into the tram lines. Daniel Kelleher's received the message of keeping it nice and steady, which he now does. Are we racing? Yes, we are. Down in towards turn number 1. It's a good start for Kelleher this time around, but keep an eye on Pradier on the inside line. Keep an eye on the energy course of Lev Krutulov. He said in his interview at the start of the weekend, watch for me this weekend as drama in the chicane. Round and out go multiple drivers. But just one is facing the wrong way, and unfortunately it's the number 80 machine not going any forward. Toby Gale, that might be his chances of getting into that final out.
Whoa, that was almost a big moment for the CRG off the road there. Davide Vitaro just going wide at turn number 6 as more drivers find themselves off onto the rumble strip.
Out.
There we have then Gale trying to get it restarted, but that's it, abandoned. Abandoned also is the number 65 kart out of this race already. So big dramas as we've headed into this final superheat. That was Oscar Gallen that finds himself circulating no more. Front end of your field though, that is Zach Green being challenged on the exit of sector number 3. Side by side they go through turn at number 14. Green and Vitaro trying to go for it on the exit of the final corner. Let's take you through your top 5 for this early stage though. It's Kelleher as your race leader, Pradier as P2, Noah Wolf currently up by 4 positions to be in P3. Then we have Krutulov and Zach Green. Wolf hunting away past the Tony kart there through turns number 4 and 5. If you let him go for it, he absolutely will. And there at turn number 6, down the inside, uses that grip bolted to that Birillard chassis, makes the move stick. But Pradier looks like he's going to try and return the favour, clips the curb at turn number 7 and gets back past. That's going to bring Krutulov ever closer into this fight. He's P6 in the world as a junior for the Energy Course driver last year. This time finds himself very much within the top 10, this time in the seniors. We were highlighting his name earlier. There we can see him on your screens. Kenzo Craigie now trying hard to fight his way past. Your 2025 European champion of Christian Kostoya is there on the back of Davide Vitaro. Jacopo Martinez absolutely trying to go for it.
Yeah, indeed. Nearly getting his front nose chopped off there from Vitaro just up ahead. It's Kenzo Craigie attacking now Christian Kostoya as they go through. Here's two CRGs just behind in the form of Victor Gustafsson and Clovis Nougarade. Of course, Gustafsson running with the Galamini outfits, of course, this weekend, which is basically, it's the CRG, but running the TM kart engine versus the IAMI engine, which is what the CRGs would use. The rest of the field going through, Jiri Pacheka having a moment there with Leon Nielsen. They've just tumbled down with Peschel going through. Eyes on this one here. Still Lev Krutulov fighting at that sharp end of the number 8 Energy Course machine, but seemingly not having that outright pace for here. And you would think at this point, now Lev is quite a tall driver in this one and is working hard in this, but at the moment he's not able to utilise that weight to get the weight down in these wet conditions.
Well, it was the Ukrainian driver that just fought past the Frenchman of Pradier, so Lev is now within the top 3. Yeah. Like you said, within this category, those taller drivers have sometimes got that advantage of shifting that centre of gravity over the kart to try and generate some grip, especially around a circuit like this that is really undulating. There's big elevation change, so you're going to need to utilise that as you go up and down hill. Kenzo Craigie now has Davide Vitaro. He's 6 currently for the Prema driver, who is there on your screen, trying to find a way past Zach Green. Is he going to try and do it through turn number 6? Thinks against it, but he looks side by side almost on the exit into turn number 7. The move isn't on just yet. The number 4 is looking hungry there. Watch him into 8. Gets it right into number 9. Green goes onto the curb, and Taro there tried to do something. That was almost a moment. Kenzo, though, isn't thrown off by that. He's not rattled by that moment, as now Noah Wolf is knocking on the door for a race lead. Kelleher's got something to worry about now, and it's a VAR branded kart right on his back bumper.
Indeed, Noah Wolf currently sitting 8th in the intermediate classifications, 242 points to his name. This overtake will put him up in that order just that little bit more, but he's not able to find his way through just yet. Takes a much wider line there through turn 1. A little bit of oversteer going in through the chicane. That won't help his speed down in towards turn 4, but he can see that he's still on the rear bumper, just not being able to get the move done. Now that Kruselov's got back up into 3rd, his pace has come back. He initially dropped down at the start, which is why he's had to fight back through the field. Now he's done that. He's able now to utilise that weight that we were talking about, his height, and he's pushing his way forward down the inside. Noah Wolf takes the lead away from Daniel Kelleher and puts him into the race lead here. For Wolf, does that help him out in the points? I would say yes, it does. And we'll see what it does to the points. It puts Wolf now up ahead of Joe Turney, now 7th in the points with 252. That's the best Wolf can do. He'll be starting P7 for that final if he stays here.
Wolf, then, you could see him on your screen just shifting round his torso in that chassis, trying to get the weight over the front end of the kart. It's absolutely working for that driver. Let's not forget as well, Noah in 2025 has been racing a KZ2 FIA campaign in the European Championship. I think he's learnt a thing or two about kart control within this season, and he's deploying it within this all-important superheat. Zach Green still hasn't been overtaken by Kenzo Craigie. These two drivers, who are both sat in Kart Republic bits of machinery, they're trying to tail onto the back bumper of the OTK Pradir in front. We are chasing up to Pradir. Looks like he could be under pressure into 7. Gap isn't open yet, though, for Green to go for it. Varied lines once more through that corner. Now, for one of the first times this weekend, Daniel Kelleher doesn't look as strong as he previously had. Throughout the heats, he's had a P3 and then 4 heat wins. Now, it's looking like he could be under threat by the Ukrainian of Krutulov, who similarly, like Wolf, is a taller, stronger driver within this field. Other strong drivers in this one, Victor Gustafsson, P10, up by 15 for the Swedish driver.
As they push through now, here's the move from Krutulov down the inside of Kelleher. Not able to get his nose down the inside this time around to try and cover off that attack. And the Irishman slots down into 3rd place now. He is still 2nd overall. He is splitting Anagnosiadis and Drummond. Kelleher at this moment will be joining Anagnosiadis on the front row of the grid, but he doesn't want to lose any more positions out in this race, because he's slowly closing in to Drummond's 295 points. He still has 313 to his name, still a comfortable buffer there in 3rd, but there's a long way to go in this race, still 10 laps left as we're on lap 7 of 17. And meanwhile, Wolf seemingly breaking away now. 1.4 seconds is the gap, but it'd be interesting to see what Krutulov can do in this situation, because looking at the sector times right now, well, Wolf is faster in sector 1. That'll be understandable on this lap because he's had to make that overtake, has Lev Krutulov. But sector 2, fractionally faster for Krutulov, so we could see that gap come down.
Craigie now finally found his way past Zach Green at turns 12 and 13. So he now makes himself the newest driver to try and hunt down Thomas Pradir for that all-important P4. Zach Green catches up massively between the curbs of 1 and 2, loses it slightly out of 3 though. He's still very much within this fight. Looks strong there. He's now with the Factory Kart Republic team for the remainder of this year. Was previously part of the DPK camp, but now looks comfortable. There still doesn't seem machinery for Zach, but slightly different team setup. There on your screen is the P3 for 2024. Matthew Higgins, a driver who appeared at PFI, took a podium for MG Course, one of their first podiums for a long time within the OK category, has returned to the Energy camp once more for this World Championship and is currently sat in P8, trying to fend off Jacopo Martinese. Still battles unfolding in this mid-pack section of the race. Race is still very much alive This involves the likes of Peschel, Kimmark, Rasmussen and Lopez as well. Peschel, a big name at the early stage of this weekend, had a good qualifying, and we saw him with mechanical problems, DNFs, had a complete engine seizure at one moment yesterday. Now, he's just not in that point of the race that he would have wanted to be. You'd expect him to be higher up, but he has been overtaken. As now Kenzo Craigie challenging Pradir into this turn number 6. Pulls it off. Pradir, though, is going to attempt to get it back, get the switch back into 7, and he does absolutely just that. Yeah, that's a nice little fight they've had. It's not over just yet. Kenzo Craigie trying to fight it back. Here comes look at this with Zachary down the inside. He'll be happy with that one. Utilising that pace and just finds that gap through. Craigie though is front. Look at that waft out of the corner. First waft of the weekend as he's gone through, and he's pushed his way back past both of them now, and that is nicely done for Craigie. Back up into 5th place, or 4th place I should say. Absolutely is. Both drivers then from the UK, where they experience very similar conditions to like this all the time. You know, in England we get rain even in the summer months, so I think that's why some of these drivers are this strong in these conditions, as is Sebastian Minz, who is one of your biggest movers within this one. 19 places gained for the victory lane in P12. You say about that rain and all of that, but I've been to Larkhall twice in Scotland, and both times I've come away with sunburn. So work that one out. Right then, here we go. Sideways moment there for the field. And oh my, it's good battles happening all the way throughout the field. And that's Carl Lutthard for the MP Racing team. He's currently in 29th place at the moment. He's battling with Efim Dudanov, Sonja B and Salamat Soy, who are still fighting in and around that area. Victor Gustafsson, 16 places gained. He is 9th place right now. He started this final outside of the cutoff. And the Swede, who has not won a final here, has not won a championship title here at all. It's a circuit that he knows very well, but it's just eluded him being on that top spot at the end of a weekend here. Yeah, he's just not looked very sharp this weekend. He's so strong in the overtaking parts of the races. He really deploys all of that experience he's got in his many years of both OK and KZ racing, but just struggled in qualifying, and then that makes the rest of the weekend just such hard work to try and fight your way through the pack and also manage the tyre as well. Managing the race, though, for the time being, Noah Wolf, 1.1 seconds clear of Lev Krutulov still. Kelleher still there in P3, but Kenzo Craigie there, P4. Looks like maybe he could be chasing up to Kelleher, and pace-wise, he is. Kenzo Craigie then, previous one was a 1 minute .735. Kelleher was on a 1 minute 8.2, so the pace between Kenzo and Daniel looking like Kenzo is the favourite for that battle for P3. Indeed. Well, we'll see the rest of this race progress on. We're on lap 11 of 17 right now. This is Higgins out on track, currently in P10. Sebastian Minz just behind him on a 20 place gain, and he's just pushing his way forward. We'll see what he can do. There, though, is Kenzo Craigie. Is he having a problem there, or is he? No, he's closing in on Daniel Kelleher. That will be the fight for 3rd place. He's dropped Green and Pradir. So we were thinking there was maybe more dramas there, but I think he's all good. But still, eyes will focus on that fight. There is Pradir on your screen. Bataro just behind, trying to close back in on this one. He's down 3 places. We'll have to be careful, though. Martinez and Victor Gustafsson not very far behind on the track. They could be a contender in this one. While we wait for these drivers to close in here, let's just take a look at your final intermediate classification. James Ananosiadis is still leading that one. He cannot be caught by the drivers in this race, 334 points. Daniel Kelleher has bumped himself up to 2nd. He's looking to start on that front row of the grid. Drummond has gone down to 3rd. Krutulov has gone up to 4th. So it will be a Drummond-Krutulov row number 2 at this moment. Ramakas and Wolf will be locking out the 3rd row of the grid. Tom Pradir and Joe Turner will be joined on the hip at row 4. Davide Bataro and Zach Green at this moment are looking to round out the top 10 for that final. Craigie Kelleher battle then. There has been a change. Now Kenzo, there on your screen, has found his way past the Kart Republic of Kelleher. Kelleher, within these wet conditions, not looking anywhere near as strong as he did in the dry yesterday for heats. still very much within the battle, like Anthony just said, in the final intermediate classification. Still sat there P2. He's being careful here. He knows he doesn't have to pull anything off hugely, but Kenzo, like we called it, the Mercedes young junior driver, has fought his way past. And I think we just need to highlight it once more, Anthony. Time qualifying on Friday, Kenzo was 57th. Now, intermediate classification, you know, he's right back up there in the fight. Yeah, he certainly is. And someone else who's been pushing in that fight as well is Luna Flusha. As we mentioned it, 99th in qualifying for her. She's up 14 places currently at this moment in this race and pushing through nicely. Chiara Batigue as well for her, recently announced as junior Red Bull driver as well. Brand new helmet for this weekend. Fortunately, I think it's just not been the weekend for her. No, such a shame. You know, last time we were here at this circuit for an FIA World Championship in 2018, it was the likes of Johnny Edgar and Harry Thompson that was sporting the Red Bull brand. This time, it's Chiara Batigue. She's just not quite had that luck. DNFs for Chiara. She did fight her way through well in some of the heats, but it just looks like for, you know, one of her last appearances, it's not gone her way, as now big chunks are being taken out of Noah Wolf's lead. Lev Krutulov, he said it in a very confident driver interview earlier on in this weekend. He thinks people should be watching him this weekend, and watching him we are indeed, because now the gap between him and your current race leader, 0.5 of a second out of turn number 14. Lev looks visibly stronger to me, Anthony. Watch what the gap is now. Does it reduce once more? No, not just yet. Goes up by just under 0.5 tenth. So Wolf trying to manage this one, but Lev, a driver that's very, very passionate, really hungry when he's out there on the circuit, and hungry within this race. Yeah, indeed, and continuing to push forward in this one. They have got a sizable lead from Kenzo Craigie there in third place. He was now all on his own in this one, as there's been some dramas in the back of the field as we keep our eyes on this one. Peter Stiller dropping to 22nd place. That's a big shame for him. Lewis Francis, Marino Lopez and Paul Andreottis. There's some big names there have all seemingly tumbled down the order in this race. Not what they wanted to see at all, which is a big, big shame for them. Eyes on this though. Wolf still holding off, the gap down to 0.3 of a second now into this final sector. Lev Krutulov all over that rear bumper. Now you've got this close, Lev. Now you get to start to see what the racing lines could be. He looks to the inside of the final corner. That's an outrageous move there on Noah Wolf, who will lose out on his race lead after he's held it for quite some time, but he's got to instantly fight back down the inside through turn one, but it's not close enough. Stays in second place, and Lev Krutulov finds his place in P1. Lev Krutulov then, that was bravery on four wheels to keep that power pin, to keep all of the pace going through turns 1, 2 and 3, and to keep his race lead out of turn number 6. Both those drivers taking that wide line, veering the corner off and getting their rev on the exit. Still mid-pack section of your field getting very busy indeed. Further down the order, big moves from the likes of Leo Nielsen, Luna Flusha. Luna is an 11th place charge for her for the time being. Out there in the front, Lev Krutulov has pushed away from Noah, who I'm sure probably wasn't expecting Lev to catch up just as quickly as he did. This is the back end of your field. Lewis Francis, Chiara Batigue, Oliver Rasmussen, Peter Stiller, all saying hello to each other. And I think all of those drivers are going to be sort of aware within this weekend, this could be their final moments. And this is the final lap for these drivers within this superheat. It certainly is. Lev Krutulov, like we mentioned earlier on, really did say, watch me this weekend. I will be one to keep an eye on. And he has certainly proved that in this superheat, pushing his way through, starting this on the front row of the grid. He has found the pace in these wet conditions and certainly could be a contender in that final later on, as he currently sits 4th in the points with 292. He will be starting P4 for that final in this position. Noah Wolf has done the hard work. He's going to lose out on a couple of places here
in that intermediate classification. He'll still start with inside the top 10. He'll start that final in P8 here in second place. But let's find out overall. Final corner, final lap. Lev Krutulov sees the checkered flag in Superheat B and will secure a start on the inside of row number 2 for the World Championship final later on today. Energy Course once more have got a driver in the senior category and a World Championship title fighting at the front end. And I'm sure the Italian team will be delighted with this one. Wolf finishing in second place. A great performance in this on this one. And he'll be starting inside that top 10. Kenzo Craigie has done what he can here. A P3 there, it keeps him outside of the top 10 overall, but a third in this race will keep him one to watch in that final later on today, I am sure, as the rain continues to trickle down now, but the blue sky, as you can see from that picture, is starting to creep over the circuit. Are we expecting a half and half conditions despite that? There's your full results on your screen. The top 3 have gone over green. Zach Green and P4 from Pradir. Martinez from Kelleher dropping to 7th place in that one. And he loses out actually on that front row start. Drummond will now join Anagnostiadis on the front row with Kelleher dropping to 4th. He will now start behind Lev Krutulov on the 2nd row of the grid. There, Gustafsson, great race on Victor Gustafsson. He may have done enough there to get into that final. We'll have to wait and see what he has done in those points. Davide Battaro dropping to 9th.